For this video, we're going to continue to expand upon the values and the structured values kind of videos here earlier. So with this, if you'd like, you can go ahead and copy that GitHub code once again. We're just going to start talking through kind of the different compatibilities here between the different types. It's kind of starting out here, the applied step compatibility text. If we see here now within the formula bar, hello Alex, our concatenation here with the ampersand within Power Query M, and then the values column. So we see each value here attempting to kind of join the two here. So we do have success. Text can be concatenated with text here. So hello Alex, hello world. If we go down to our next error here, we go ahead and bring this up into the kind of the white space. So we cannot apply an operator ampersand to types text and number. All right, so the left-hand side was hello Alex, right-hand side 15.31. That's good. Kind of gives me some context here in terms of the expression.error messages. Kind of clicking down here once again, text and logical, not kind of a valid. Looking at records, list, binaries, just all, once again, just not compatible. We cannot apply the operator. So let's click on the next applied step here. So our numbers, compatibility of numbers. Looking at our formula bar here now, we have 45 plus the values column here again. So can we add text and a number? No, we cannot apply an operator. Kind of the arithmetic here to types numbers and text. So left side, what was our 45 as we can see up here, right hand side hello world. But obviously it is compatible, so numbers are compatible with numbers. Just in terms of a null, just it is going to return a null value for the return. Compatibility here of logical values. Oh, this is kind of interesting. So it appears logical is kind of a valid, kind of top to bottom here. So hello world. So false equals values. So hello world, false equals hello world is false. Well, I mean, that makes sense. False equals 15.31, false. False equals false is true. All right. Interesting. So what about our and? So false and. Go and press enter. All right, so we're still good there. So false all the way down is false. What if I actually kind of rearrange this here though? Let's do false, or I'm sorry, values and false this time. Kind of just change the order up here a little bit. Oh, interesting. So values and false will actually give me errors. So we cannot convert the value hello world to type logical. We cannot convert the value 15.31 to logical. Interesting. So with our logical, it actually is important in terms of the order in which we're kind of evaluating here. So values, kind of the and, or if we were to try the or, we'd expect to see errors here. Once again, that null, we just saw it change from the and to the or. One, it was able to return a false. The other, it was not. So tricky, certainly tricky. All the different things they're trying to pull here on us. So let's try compatibility of dates. All right, so if we actually look at the formula bar this time, we've got our date equal to hash date 2020 10/31 minus our values column. So if we look at kind of the future date here, so about 4 years in comparison here with the 2018, we actually see it returns a duration. So our duration is our days, hours, minutes, and seconds. So it tells us that there was a total duration of 1,508 days between the two. Interesting. So with our duration though, so our date minus our values of duration, it does return the date of October 15, 2022. Let's try here again, if you don't mind. We're going to shift these around because I'm always curious now, right? So let's do our values. Let's change this maybe back to an earlier date. So 2005. If I press enter, I see here I've got my my date kind of field here, and then also my duration. Unfortunately, that changed. So that duration is just no longer compatible. So a duration cannot subtract a date. So we have to remember dates have to go before the durations. Time here once again. So our time minus our time value, we return back a duration. So days is 0, hours 1, 16 minutes, 15 seconds. A duration, so a time minus a duration, it does work if we were to kind of switch these up here just from our previous example. So let's move values first, our time here, second, press enter, we notice that that one is gone. So certainly where we can, obviously just kind of have our primitive values here at the very beginning. Let me go ahead and rearrange this here again for us. Minus our values, press enter, love it. We've got two different returns. Date and time here, once again, very similar. So we're going to start out with the date time. We found very good success here, which is having these before our values. Date time minus a date time returns that duration here for us. And then also whenever we're using the date time minus that duration, it'll return an actual date time here. So something to keep in mind. So date time minus date time returns a duration. A date time minus duration returns a date time. Date time zone, very similar here once again. We're finding that pattern. Date time zone minus a date time zone returns a duration. Date time zone minus a duration returns a date time zone. So they're almost kind of a crisscross, backwards, however you want to kind of think about it moving forward. So let's look at our duration column here then, just kind of moving along our next step. Oh man, we knew we had a lot of success here with our durations. We can see that here now. So the duration plus a date time, date and time, kind of returning those values. Date time zone, kind of with the offset here, and then also our duration. Looking at binaries, obviously binaries are just not able to kind of be compatible here, so we cannot use a concatenation here, so a binary value and another value. Looking at our formula bar. Looking at our null. So yes, a null and a value. So a text value here in this example. We kind of scroll all the way over to our left. And then also a null here within our date and then our time as well. And then a null just returns a null. So certainly interesting things to kind of keep in mind here. Looking at our list, we see all these errors. Of course, a list and text cannot be compatible here, but what we can obviously do is store our text values in that list. So kind of appending to that item. Looking at our list here, we are able to concatenate, kind of join these two tables together. So 1.5 and the values here. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, plus the range of 1 through 15. Just appended those two items together here to create a new list. Obviously, you can do that here just with the ampersand, but more than likely, you're going to want to use the kind of the structured data type. So in this example, it would be a list.combine, and then combine those two items. Similar with the records and tables, just using the functions. Records here, once again, all these errors. We see here we can combine records though. So D equals 45, Z equals 105, and the values. So we're going to scroll back over to the values here in our records. 10 and 30. Scroll back over. 45, 105, 10, and 30. You can tell we're just kind of running out of room here now on the right-hand side. Compatibility table. Tables can be joined with other tables here, just using this ampersand once again. I would rather see you use the functions, which we will talk about just kind of later on here throughout the course. But as you can see here, yes, we can combine one table with another, just thinking about it as the append queries, kind of appending those two tables here that within that button. Compatibility of functions. It's saying kind of as the return type, yes, we can invoke this. Just functions can be used with text, numbers, kind of logical. So that's giving us kind of a good sign there. And then our last but not least here, compatibility type of types. So in this example, we cannot apply an ampersand to types type and text, so just not compatible. Type and number, not compatible. Types are really just to return what is the data type. So in this example, we've got a value.type of hello world, which will return the value of text, and then trying to kind of compare that here with ampersand to values, just not giving us a good return. If we were to do the equal symbol though, obviously it's going to give us that logical here. So as we can see here, just text equals text, or the text of hello world, just not true. Kind of here also within the false. So just things to keep in mind. Yes, the ampersands concatenate are equals, kind of for the comparison. maybe also an ampersand, or I'm sorry, the and, so AND, bringing errors back, or the ORs. So a lot of different ways. As we saw also, the order was extremely important too in some of these earlier examples. But hopefully with this, as you start kind of writing a lot more Power Query M, you're going to have all the error messages. You're going to see this in front of you. You're going to kind of understand, what does this error mean? All right, I get it. Text is only compatible with text. If I need to convert maybe a number to text, then maybe I'll have to use a function to do so. So maybe a number.toText. And that we start concatenating here down the road.